Alexis. I am gonna teach you a little bit about TriggerPoint. I decided to make a video because it's a lot easier to explain it than to write it because it's kind of weird. Alright, so let's begin with what is going on with your back. Now, if you have knots, like your chiropractor was like, wow, you have these really big knots, he's probably talking about something called adhesions, and it's where you're like okay, so on your muscles you have a layer on the outside of kind of like a sheath, and that's called fascia. So your muscles and your fascia are designed to move independently, and when you walk or move or anything, your muscles and fascia kind of slide back and forth over each other. And when you have two muscles that are like, say you have a muscle here, and then you have your fascia, and you have a muscle here, and you have your fascia, and like they're built like this, these two muscles are meant to move independently, whoop, 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 like that, right? So sometimes what happens is your fascia and your fascia, or your fascia and your muscle will adhere. And so they no longer move independently, they start cranking together like this, and these muscles that normally go like this will be like, and that causes knots, and it hurts, and it sucks, and I've got this one little bugger right here that I've had for a long time that I keep working on. And anytime I get stressed out or anytime I work too much, boom, it's like, I'm back. So it's a constant issue. Unfortunately, there's no fast, quick, easy way to take care of knots. What there is TriggerPoint. So TriggerPoint is a form of myofascial release, and what you're basically going to do is break down those adhesions, if you let those adhesions grow, it turns into scar tissue. So what you're trying to do is break down that scar tissue, break down those adhesions, get it to the point where your muscles and your fascia are now moving independently again, and they're slipping and sliding all over each other. Because you know what? That's how your body's supposed to work. But those of us who do any kind of endurance sport or any kind of sports, we have the tendency to push our bodies to, I don't know, like to seize up. Alright, so TriggerPoint. There's all kinds of fancy stuff you can use to use TriggerPoint. One of them is this cute little ball. It's called a TriggerPoint therapy ball. They're about 20 bucks. They're hard on the inside, and they've got a little bit of padding over it. I won this at a raffle because I would never pay $20 for this. Because you can buy a lacrosse ball for $1.99. A lacrosse ball will do the same thing that a TriggerPoint will do, but it costs 18 bucks less. Now, I don't know about you. I'm all about saving 18 bucks because that is a possibility, that's almost enough for a race. Alright, so you're going to use your body weight and motion to get this guy to kind of give yourself a very targeted and yes, painful massage, okay? We're going to work on our shoulders. I'm going to show you how to work on your shoulders because that's where my big problems in the back are. But what you'll do is you'll find the areas on your back that, wherever those knots are, you're going to do the same kind of technique. I also use this on my glutes. Like I'll sit on a yoga mat, I'll shove this under my glute, and I'll kind of roll around on it until I find those spots that hurt, and then I'll whimper and whine. Or I'll throw down a yoga mat and put like a book down, and then I'll put the lacrosse ball down, and I'll lay on my stomach, like with the lacrosse ball in here, and really get into those hip flexors. My hip flexors have a lot of problems because I cycle a lot, so I cycle in arrows, so I'm like this a lot. So these muscles, or these tendons and ligaments and all this stuff in here gets really tight, and so after a long bike ride, I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. Okay. So I just put my lacrosse ball in a, what is that thing called? That's a knee high. It's the only use for knee highs. This is mostly so that I can move the ball around on my back without dropping it. Alright, so then you go to this handy dandy wall and you say, hello wall, thank you for being supportive. And I take this and kind of find the spot. Can you see me? Yeah, okay, so find the spots where you hurt. I'm just lining it up because I know that right in here is where I have all of my issues. So I put my ball there. I lean up against the wall. I take my feet away from the wall. Oops, that's too low. Take my feet away from the wall so that I'm actually putting my body weight into my shoulder. Now what I'm going to do is move around. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, that hurts like hell. And find those knots. And whenever I find a knot that really hurts, I might just sit there and wait a minute and kind of let your body weight lean into it. And it hurts. Like this knot that I have on my shoulder typically wraps itself around a nerve. And so when I press on it, I kind of lose feeling down here. But when I let up, it goes away. And then if you can, but you don't have to start with this because this makes it more intense, start moving your arms in ways where you're moving your muscles in and out of that lacrosse ball, okay? So this is the active release part of myofascial release, but it's super painful and it sucks. So just get in there, find that spot. Oh, there's another one. And move your arm in a way, depending on where it is, it might be your neck that you're moving to get that muscle to move. The other part that I have problems with is right in the erectors on the right side. So I'll just move the ball down to right here. And now I'm sitting a little bit more like a squat. My legs are like this. And I'll move up and down, right up and down that erector. I don't have a lot of knots in here, but this just feels really good and kind of, relief does, oh yeah, oh man, right in there. Just releases some of that tension. All right, so that's your basic intro to TriggerPoint. Now here's the thing. I am not a professional. I've never been trained in TriggerPoint. Let me rephrase that. I have never been trained to teach somebody else how to do TriggerPoint. I have been trained to do it to myself because I mess my body up all the time. So I want you to take that with a grain of salt. But this little guy is the whole reason why I can still run. I have problems with my calves. I have problems with my quads. I have problems with my hip flexors, my IT band, my glutes. You name it, I have messed it up. And this is how I recover from all of my stupid injuries. Anyways, I hope that helps. I hope you have a fantastic Easter. I'm going to go hang out with my niece and eat a lot of chocolate bread pudding. All right. Bog power, mofo. Woo! I'll talk to you soon. Bye.